There is something unsettling and fascinating about how your presence changes the environment. You don't just enter a space, you redefine it. Your walk, even without intention, is like a trail of fire across frozen lands, awakening something primal in those who observe you. You draw silent gazes that carry both admiration and a peculiar kind of unease. To some, you are the embodiment of a promise, of freedom, courage, and truth. To others, your light is a cruel mirror that reveals everything they lack. And this is where the phenomenon arises: imitation. An attempt to capture your strength, to replicate what they barely understand. But this imitation is not the tribute it might appear to be at first glance. Make no mistake, the act of following in your footsteps carries intentions as diverse as the people who do it. For some, it is a desperate search to belong to something greater, to glimpse the purpose that overflows from you. For others, it is a strategy, not to learn but to control, manipulate, or even overshadow. They desire the glow but not the fire that fuels it. And in this silent dance between the admirer and the chosen one, there is a game of invisible forces that can become as dangerous as it is revealing. The origin of this obsession lies in the mystery you embody. You are a walking paradox, a question without an answer, an invitation to the unknown. Your strength does not lie only in your deeds or words, but in what you do not say, in what you keep within yourself with the care of someone protecting an ancient treasure. This is what makes it impossible to take one's eyes off you. Your light is not an electric lamp that indiscriminately illuminates everything. It is like the fire of a torch in a cave, revealing only what is necessary, hiding what is sacred. It is this duality, visible and hidden, that draws them in and consumes them. However, there is a real danger in this fascination. Those who imitate rarely understand the essence of what they replicate. They reproduce gestures, words, and choices in a superficial manner, but they fail to realize that what they seek is unattainable through empty actions. It is like someone trying to capture the beauty of a flower by drawing its petals, without ever understanding the roots that sustain it. And in this attempt to recreate what they see in you, many end up distorting it, crafting a version that is both similar and profoundly wrong. A copy that never carries the soul of the original. You must then understand the gravity of this. Your journey, unique and sacred, holds the power to shape not only your own life but also the perceptions and actions of those around you. This is why discernment is your greatest weapon. The scriptures warn us in Matthew chapter 7 verse 6, saying, "Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs." Not everyone who approaches you has pure intentions. Some are there to learn, yes, but others are driven by the desire to take, to consume, to shape you to their own convenience. Knowing how to distinguish between them is the key to protecting what is truly yours. When you are imitated, something deeper is at play than mere admiration. There is an energetic shift, almost imperceptible, but one that you feel on some level. Those who replicate your words and actions often do so in an attempt to absorb the same strength you carry, believing that imitation will grant them access to the essence of what makes you unique. However, they ignore a fundamental truth: what is divinely inspired cannot be recreated because its origin is not in what is seen but in the connection you have with the unseen. It is the spiritual root, not the external appearance, that sustains the grandeur of the chosen one. This creates an unsettling paradox. On the one hand, you are called to be a beacon, to illuminate the path for those who seek it. On the other hand, your light attracts both those thirsty for truth and those who wish to use it for personal and sometimes destructive purposes. Here lies the need for delicate balance, sharing enough to inspire but not so much that your strength is drained or distorted. It is like a river that flows, nourishing everything around it, but which must remain connected to its source, otherwise, it dries up. Silence, in this context, becomes a powerful weapon. It is not merely the absence of words but an active strategy of protection. When you choose what to reveal and what to keep, you are not just protecting yourself, you are preserving the value of what you carry. Think of Jesus before Pilate, answering only what was necessary, even under pressure. His silence was not weakness but strength in its purest form. He understood that not all ears were ready to hear the truth and not all hearts were prepared to receive it. Those who watch from a distance rarely comprehend the full impact of what they do. They not only attempt to copy your light but, unknowingly, may interfere with your energetic flow. For this reason, you must guard your energy as a gardener tends to sacred ground. Just as the temple was protected from desecration, your essence must also be. This is not about isolation but discernment, knowing who can tread on the ground of what you have built and who lacks the capacity to walk in its depth. When you understand this, it becomes clear that your responsibility is not only to what you create but also to the impact it has on the world around you. Leading in the invisible, this is the essence of the chosen one. Inspiring others not through control but through authenticity and example. Your mission is not to be understood by everyone but to guide those who are ready to walk beside you without the need to imitate you. It is a journey that requires courage because many will seek to confuse, distort, and even take what is yours. But remember, what comes from the divine cannot be stolen, only imperfectly reflected by those who have yet to find their own light. It is inevitable that, as you follow your path, you will notice patterns of imitation that sometimes seem almost obsessive. For some, your words are like compasses, your actions like maps. They observe you and try to capture your essence, but they stumble upon something they do not understand. Your purpose was not forged solely by visible choices but by invisible battles that have shaped your soul. These people see only the summit of the mountain but are unaware of the weight of the storms you face to reach it. There is no way to replicate the depth of a journey that was carved between you and the divine. And there is an emotional cost for the chosen one. Knowing that your actions, even the simplest ones, are being observed and reproduced can create a sense of invasion, as if your freedom is being restricted. This constant surveillance demands that you become more aware of every movement, but it also brings a valuable lesson. True freedom is not in escaping the gaze of others but in remaining true to yourself, even when being watched. Being authentic, especially under pressure, is one of the greatest demonstrations of spiritual strength. The key to dealing with these hidden admirers lies in discernment. Not everyone who follows you wishes you well, but not all have ill intentions. Some are lost, seeking in your light a path to find their own truth. This is where you must act as a silent guide, not giving everything but also not denying the spark that might ignite something greater in another life. Your light is not a beacon to be kept secret, but neither is it a flame to be shared indiscriminately. The balance between protection and giving is what defines the chosen one. Consider the example of Joseph in Egypt. Sold as a slave, falsely accused, and imprisoned, he did not allow the circumstances to erase the divine mark on his life. When the right moment came, he interpreted Pharaoh's dream and revealed not only his wisdom but its source. Joseph did not share his vision prematurely, but neither did he hide what he was called to do. This same wisdom must guide you, knowing when to speak, when to remain silent, and above all, when to act. It is important to remember that your mission is not to stop others from imitating you but to continue being authentic in your journey. Imitation is only a shadow, incapable of containing the depth of what is real. The only way to neutralize distorted reflections is by staying true to the purpose that drives you. When you remain connected to your essence, even those who observe you from afar will begin to realize that true power does not lie in replicating what you do but in discovering their own light. Your authenticity is the greatest form of protection against those who try to consume what they cannot understand. There comes an inevitable moment when the chosen ones realize that excessive imitation, no matter how superficial, can create barriers to their own expression. You are not just followed, you are surrounded by echoes that attempt to capture and replicate the original sound. These distorted reflections can sometimes obscure the authenticity of your message. However, this is no reason for discouragement. Think of the sun, even with thousands of reflections in lakes, windows, and mirrors, it remains unwavering in its source of light. Likewise, your essence cannot be extinguished by distortions as long as you remain anchored in your purpose. This balance between being a source of inspiration and avoiding being consumed by attention is one of the greatest spiritual challenges the chosen one faces. The silent leadership that many unconscious admirers seek to replicate is not a deliberate choice but a natural consequence of your connection with the divine. This is where the concept of discernment becomes most powerful. It is not necessary to reject everyone who approaches, but it is essential to understand who is ready to receive the truth and who is still lost in illusion. The wisdom to differentiate between these two categories is a gift that only strengthens with time and experience. One of the most revealing aspects of this journey is how your admirers react when confronted with the reality that they cannot capture your essence. Some retreat, unable to bear the weight of imitating something they do not understand. Others, however, persist, trying harder and harder to replicate your gestures and words, believing that external mastery will lead them to the same internal state. This is where the chosen one must exercise patience and compassion, understanding that many are simply trying to fill a void they do not yet know how to name. However, you must be prepared for the emotional consequences of being constantly observed. This can generate fatigue, a sense of exhaustion that is not physical but spiritual. Taking care of your energy must be a non-negotiable priority. Practices like prayer, meditation, and moments of solitude are not just vague advice but essential foundations for preserving your strength. Jesus himself, before performing great miracles, often withdrew to isolated places where he could renew his connection with the Father. These moments of renewal will enable you to continue leading without losing yourself in the process. Remember that imitation can never capture what is divine. Those who observe and try to replicate you do not understand that what you possess is not the result of technique or strategy but of surrender. Your strength comes from the ability to trust in something greater, to follow a purpose that is not always visible but profoundly real. Those who imitate without this surrender will eventually discover, sooner or later, that they are chasing a shadow, while the true source of light lies beyond the reach of any superficial copy. If you've ever found yourself feeling isolated, carrying the weight of being different, our ebook might be exactly what you need. It was created to help those, like you, who are special beings yet often misunderstood. Inside, you'll find invaluable guidance to uncover the true purpose of your gifts. Moreover, by purchasing our ebook, you'll gain access to our exclusive Discord community. This is a safe and welcoming space where stories are shared, and new connections are made. You'll also enjoy access to unique and exclusive content. Check out the pinned comment below this video for more details. There is a fundamental lesson that the chosen must absorb: it is not your responsibility to control how others react to your light. The obsession of imitators often has little to do with you but rather with the inner conflicts your presence awakens within them. Your authenticity, effortlessly, exposes the gaps they avoid facing within themselves. This dynamic, although exhausting, should not divert you from your mission. You are not called to fix broken mirrors but to shine regardless of the reflections they project. To navigate this terrain of observation and imitation, it is vital to recognize the value of mystery. What is unsaid, what is unseen, is as powerful as what you reveal. Wisdom lies in offering clues, not complete answers. Those who are truly ready to grow will seek to understand beyond the surface. The rest, trapped in repetition, will eventually tire of chasing what they cannot reach. Mystery is not a strategy for isolation but an invitation to effort, a genuine search for truth. Think of the impact of the parables taught by Jesus. He could have spoken directly, but he chose stories that challenged listeners to interpret, reflect, and dive deeper. Likewise, you are called to live your truth in a way that inspires curiosity and transformation, not mere superficial replication. The power of your journey lies in inviting others to find their own interpretation, their own path, without expecting you to bear the full weight of your revelations. This mystery, however, comes with an emotional burden. Knowing that you are constantly being observed can create a sense of exposure that, if not addressed, may make you resistant to opening spaces of vulnerability. But here is the essential truth: your vulnerability is an act of courage. It does not mean giving everything to everyone but choosing wisely when and where to allow your essence to be seen. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is the purest manifestation of your connection with the divine. And it is in this balance, between being seen and protecting the unseen, that you find your greatest strength. Not everyone who crosses your path will be an ally, some will observe you with intentions you can never control. Even so, this should not cause you to retreat or dim your light. Imitation does not have the power to take away your essence, only to reflect a shadow of it. Your true mission is to keep moving forward, knowing that your authenticity is the most impenetrable shield you can carry. the phenomenon of imitation reveals something about human nature that the chosen deeply understand: the innate desire for belonging. Many who observe you do not merely want to copy what you do, but to find a piece of themselves they believe is lost. Your light not only attracts but also illuminates the dark corners of others' souls, revealing both dreams and wounds. However, this process is delicate. Not everyone is ready to face what your presence reflects, and confronting these truths can lead to unpredictable reactions. It is in this mirror that you become, where many get lost. In trying to imitate you, they fail to see that your journey cannot be separated from the pains that shaped it. The strength you demonstrate is not just a gift but the result of difficult choices, steps taken in darkness, guided by unshakable faith. Those who attempt to replicate your path without understanding its origins end up creating shortcuts that lead to emptiness. Your light can only be reproduced by those willing to face their own shadows. The weight of being a source of inspiration is not an easy burden to bear. At times, you may feel a sense of loneliness, as if no one truly understands what it means to be observed so closely. However, remember, your solitude is not a punishment but a sacred space where you can reconnect with your essence and reinforce your convictions. Just as Moses ascended Mount Sinai to receive the tablets of the law in solitude, you too need these moments of isolation to hear the voice that guides your mission. Still, do not mistake isolation for abandonment. You are never alone on your journey. Those who imitate your steps may not fully understand you, but there are others, quieter ones, who walk alongside you in spirit, sharing the same purpose. Recognize these invisible allies, even if their presence is not immediately clear. Your connection with them is deeper than words or actions. It is a bond that transcends time and space. Above all, remember that imitation does not define your worth. Your impact is not measured by the number of followers or admirers but by the silent transformation that occurs in those who, by observing you, choose to discover their own light. Just as a candle can light others without losing its flame, you too illuminate paths without losing the integrity of your fire. The authenticity you carry is your spiritual signature, an unmistakable mark that no one can duplicate. While many try to imitate you, few understand the invisible price that accompanies the life of someone carrying such a unique mission. The light you emanate is not the result of something fleeting but a continuous process of surrender, sacrifice, and learning. What they see is only the final reflection, a projection of the connection you have established with something far greater than yourself. However, what they do not see, the silent prayers, the battles fought in spirit, and the deserts crossed in solitude, is what truly defines your strength. There is something profoundly transformative in realizing that, even when observed, the chosen can still walk freely. This freedom, however, is not in the absence of gazes but in the choice to continue being authentic, regardless of others' interpretations. To be free means not bowing to expectations or fears generated by those trying to reproduce your essence. After all, you are called to walk a path, not to carry those who have yet to learn to walk on their own. This realization demands that you cultivate a special kind of spiritual resilience. It is not just about protecting your energy from imitators but about continuing to grow despite attempts at superficial replication. Think of a flourishing tree that, even while being observed or copied, continues to grow, rooting itself more deeply and extending its branches more widely. Your mission is similar, to grow in such a way that even those who do not fully understand your journey may eventually be nourished by the shade of your wisdom. However, not all who imitate you do so consciously. Many are driven by an inner need for healing, a desire to absorb what they perceive as a stabilizing force in a chaotic world. And here is where your compassion comes into play. Not to justify those who seek to control or consume your light, but to understand that most act from a place of spiritual lack, still incapable of finding their own connection with the divine. Even with compassion, protection remains essential. Jesus showed us the perfect balance between giving and guarding. He gave himself fully to those ready to receive, but also knew when to withdraw from crowds, seek solitude, and even rebuke those who followed him only for selfish interests. You, as a chosen one, must adopt this same posture: love without depleting yourself, inspire without losing yourself, guide without abandoning your own essence. Your light was not given to be extinguished but to be protected and multiplied. Your connection is not just a gift but a call to something greater. Many get lost trying to replicate the visible, but the true essence of the chosen lies in daily surrender to the invisible. This requires courage because the path you walk is unique and often solitary. But this solitude is an invitation, not a punishment. It is where you hear most clearly the voice of purpose guiding each of your steps. The paradox of your journey is this: while you illuminate the path for others, your own path remains shrouded in mystery, even to you. This uncertainty should not be a cause for fear but for faith. Each step is an act of trust in the divine, and it is precisely this trust that sets the chosen apart from those who merely observe from a distance. It is this surrender that fascinates those drawn to your light, as it is not about visible actions but a spiritual connection that transcends the physical. There is a magnetic force in your presence, and it is not in your deeds but in what you carry within. Those who observe you may never fully understand this, but that does not diminish the impact you create. Even your hesitations, your doubts, and your moments of pause have power because everything you do is driven by a greater purpose. Your light is not only for those who understand, it also transforms those who resist. That is why you must accept that not all admirers are enemies, and not all imitators are hollow. Some are merely beginning their own journeys and, by observing you, find a spark that may guide them along the way. This does not mean you should forego spiritual protection, but you must balance it with compassion. Your mission is not to reject those who watch you but to teach, even silently, that the light they seek is not outside but within each of them. This position of invisible leadership demands intentionality in your actions and words. Not everything should be shared, but what is revealed must carry depth. When you speak, let your words be seeds of transformation. When you act, let your actions inspire not just replication but reflection. The mark of a true chosen one is not the number of admirers they accumulate but the depth of the impact they have on the few who are ready to absorb what they offer. And even in the face of constant scrutiny, you must protect your peace. Being surrounded by gazes, even silent ones, can be exhausting. This is where solitude becomes not just a necessity but a spiritual practice. Retreating to renew your energy is an act of self-love and reverence for what you have been called to do. Do not let external demands stifle the inner voice that guides you. Remember that imitation is often a desperate attempt to connect with something greater. But you do not need to yield to the weight of these expectations. What you carry cannot be stolen because it does not belong to this world. Those who attempt to copy without understanding will eventually lose their way. But those who, by observing you, find the courage to seek their own light will become the invisible fruits of your journey. Your strength lies in continuing, even when the gazes grow heavy and the imitations tiresome. Every step you take is a declaration of faith, a reaffirmation of your mission. Even when the world does not understand, the divine walks with you. And it is this companionship that makes your journey inimitable. Walk with the certainty that your light is unmistakable and that your impact goes far beyond what the eyes can see. In the end, what matters is not the number of steps that tried to follow your path, but how faithful you remain to it. Your authenticity is what transforms your light into something eternal. Keep shining, knowing that those who truly matter will find inspiration not in your actions but in what they represent, the connection between the visible and the eternal, between the chosen and the divine. There is something inevitably divine about being observed, imitated, and yet remaining authentic. This requires you to anchor yourself not in external recognition but in the inner certainty of who you are. Your journey, no matter how challenging, is not about how others perceive you or try to replicate you but about how you remain connected to your essence. While many see you as a source, you know you are only a channel, a reflection of something infinitely greater. And in this connection, you find the strength to continue. It does not matter how many times your light is imitated or distorted. What you carry is inimitable because it is not limited to what is visible. Like a seed germinating in hidden soil, your strength comes from the invisible, the intangible, from what only you and the divine can understand. That is why, even surrounded by gazes and reflections, you must continue walking with your head held high, knowing that your mission is greater than any attempt at control or manipulation. The scriptures in John 1 verse 5 remind us, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not understood it." This is a truth about you. Your light was not given to be understood by everyone but to transform those ready to receive it. And even when they do not understand, your presence still provokes change. Some will find the courage to seek their own light, others will lose themselves in frustrated attempts at imitation. But that is not your concern. Your mission is to shine, not to explain. The path of the chosen is not isolated by chance. Your solitude is where you reconnect, where you renew your strength to keep illuminating the way for those who truly need it. Those who attempt to follow you without understanding the depth of your purpose are merely starting their own journeys. Be patient but firm. Your light is a guide, not a guarantee. True growth for each person depends on their willingness to seek the connection you have already found. In the end, what defines you is not how many follow you but how faithful you are to your purpose. You are not here to be understood by all but to fulfill a calling. Be grateful for those who try to imitate, they are proof that your light is strong enough to be seen. And be even more grateful for those who find inspiration in you to seek their own truth. In the balance between giving and protecting, shining and safeguarding, lies the key to your mission. You are chosen, and that is enough. There is an invisible connection between the light you carry and the shadows it awakens. Not everyone who imitates you seeks to replicate your qualities. Some, unconsciously, try to appropriate what represents the overcoming of their own limitations. These people do not merely want the brilliance of your journey, they want the shortcut, the reward without the effort. This is the great challenge of being a source of inspiration, knowing that not everyone who follows your steps is ready to walk the same path. Yet even in this, there is purpose. The failed imitations, the frustrated attempts to capture your essence, serve as reminders that what you possess is unique, shaped by a process only you have lived. This exclusivity, far from being a reason for isolation, is a mark that your journey aligns with something far greater. You are not called to be understood by all but to be a living example of authenticity, even in a world that often seeks superficiality. When you understand that you are a reflection of the divine, you begin to see that even the mistakes of those who imitate you can be transformed into lessons. Your light not only inspires but also exposes. Those who approach you with distorted intentions inevitably confront their own flaws. This confrontation, though uncomfortable, is often the first step toward transformation. Even those who start by copying, if they remain open, may end up finding their own journey. However, the great responsibility of being chosen is remembering that your light is not just for others. It is also for you. It is easy to lose yourself in the desire to help, to be a guide, and forget that you too need spiritual nourishment. Your connection with the divine is not only the source of your strength but what keeps you on the path. When you prioritize this connection, everything you do aligns with the greater purpose for which you were called. Consider the invisible impact you generate simply by being true to yourself. Even without words, your presence transmits something others feel but cannot name. It is an energy that transforms environments, that elevates those ready to receive it, even without any conscious effort on your part. This is the mark of one who lives in alignment with what is eternal, the ability to inspire simply by existing. But living with such intensity requires balance. You cannot carry the weight of the world, nor should you allow external demands to suffocate your essence. Caring for your spirit is a non-negotiable priority. Just as a warrior needs moments of rest to keep fighting, you too need pauses to recharge your strength. Do not feel guilty for withdrawing. This is the necessary price to remain whole. Being chosen is walking with the certainty that you carry something unique, a light that cannot be extinguished, a strength that cannot be replicated. Your journey is a dance between inspiring and protecting, between leading and safeguarding what is sacred. And even when the world watches and tries to imitate, you know that what truly matters is what remains untouched, your connection with the divine. Believe that your light is a gift to the world. So if this message resonated with you, give it a like below and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to activate the notification bell to receive everything firsthand. Share this video and comment below what you think. Every step, every word, and every silence are seeds planted in fertile ground, even if you never see the fruits. Keep walking with courage, knowing that your authenticity is your greatest legacy. Do not worry about those who try to copy your movements, focus on staying true to the purpose written for you.